Well, hello and a very good morning and a very warm welcome to BA Fringe at BA Summit Southern Africa. And of course, a very warm welcome to the conference as well. Always a fantastic conference, a real highlight of the year, and this year will be no exception. We find ourselves in a very different place than normal, in a virtual world. I'm sure you had the chance to see Edward's inspiring sort of intro video there. But actually, there are so many ways we can be social in this virtual world. Now, I'm sure you'll know, even if you've never physically been to BA Summit, it always is a really, really social event. And the virtual environment gives us new ways of being social. So if you haven't already had a look around, do make sure to look around, check out the various chat discussion forums and the sort of networking lounges as well, because there's the opportunity for us all to have a chat, to have a virtual coffee, and to exchange notes on whatever it is that we're working on. Now, if you're not familiar with BA Fringe, this isn't really sort of part of the main conference program. It's really bonus additional material that fits in the gaps, it fits in the breaks, the sort of fringes of the conference. And we're going to be bringing you different interviews, panel sessions and competitions and all sorts of different content in addition to the main conference program. And this little slither of the conference is available on YouTube. So even if you've got colleagues who perhaps couldn't attend the main conference, they can attend these little tiny bits around the edges for free via YouTube as well. So do feel free to spread those YouTube links around. Of course, for the main conference, you do need to be a ticket holder, but for the BA Fringe, this is something that you can spread around for free. Do be sure also, if you haven't seen the intro from Edward, do be sure to take a look at that. I was really interested to see that actually there are vacancies for volunteer directors on the IIBA South Africa board. IIBA is a fantastic organisation, so do be sure to step up to that if you can. And do be sure to visit the sponsors booths as well, a really important part of the ecosystem here at the conference and of course in the BA community more generally. But we have so much coming up. I'm going to move straight ahead and move on to our first item. You might be wondering, why is this conference so important at this particular point in time with so many other things going on? Well, we've got four very, very distinguished guests to join us now to talk about that very topic. So we have Tshepo Matjila, who is Management Consultant at IQ Business, Deborah Oluwadele, who is Business Analyst at J. Waddle Solutions, Ryan Folster, who is Business Analysis Competency Lead at Bright House, and Inga Davids, who is Business Analyst at Analyze Consulting. So Tshepo, Deborah, Ryan, Inga, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Fantastic.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk a little bit about the conference, about change, about why it's important right now. And it's often said the pace of change is getting faster. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it's getting slower. And what I was wondering is, from your perspective, what are the biggest changes that are affecting the BA role that you see in your role or that you perceive? So I don't know. Let's. I'm going to randomly pick on Ryan. What's your view?
Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Just randomly picking on me there, I guess. So yeah, I think one of the changes I've seen is sort of a shift to a value mindset rather than a time-based mindset. So I think now that we remote, it's difficult to track time, so you can't see when people come in and out of the office, but what you can track is value. So there's a lot more focus on ensuring the value is there, irrespective of how much time it takes to deliver that value. So yeah, I've seen that being quite a shift in the organization I work in, and it's been quite interesting, I must admit.
So more of an outcome focus then, Ryan, rather than just about deliverables.
100%. And if you think about it, I mean, that's a company's only interested in the outcome. You know, time is an old metric we used to track by time. We used to make sure that you you only worried about how long you were in the office for, even if you were unproductive for many of those hours. And right now it's just about, can we deliver the value? If you're giving the value in, good for you.
Yeah. So which fits more with that kind of agile mantra, I suppose, doesn't it? So about
100%.
about outcomes. So Inga, what's your view? Anything to add, or what would you say the sort of biggest changes that you see are?
I guess for me, on the back of Ryan's value add and less about deliverables, I think it's also just around the techniques that we have to sharpen right now. Virtually, we might have been doing things for the last 10 years face to face, and it's really challenged us to think about, how do we bring this to the virtual room? How do we still have the energy? How do we still engage with our stakeholders? How do we get that engagement to deliver great outcomes? I think that's definitely the biggest change around things that we've mastered, but now that we have to test and try and adapt new ways of working.
Yeah, adapting I guess keeping the essence of the techniques, but like transitioning them into the virtual world, or the distance, when we're separated in distance.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Deborah, anything to add? What would you say the biggest change or changes that you're seeing are?
Yes, I'll go with what Inga has just said. The COVID-19 has brought about new ways of doing business and new ways of doing things. And you find out you can't afford to be convenient with the hold or with the norm. So a business analyst is now challenged with, being the real analyst, being strategic, not just about designing softwares, but being able to identify needs, being agile enough to prefer solutions and to research into context. And, there are no time for trial by error. So you just need to look at cases, look at what exactly is happening in other countries, and how do we adopt and adapt, what the best practices and business analysis in other countries, in other contexts, and, leverage it within our own context to create value.
Fantastic. That really all of that really resonated. But I love what you said there, Deborah, about taking things from other contexts and almost to paraphrase, it's almost that holistic view. We're not just looking at the IT, we're looking at the whole context and trying to work out, and as Ryan was saying, getting the outcomes that the business need, and we're doing that as Inga was saying in a virtual world. So quite a lot of changes that we're dealing with. So Tshepo, what would your view be? Anything to add?
Yeah, I think I'm seeing a lot of leadership demands from business analysts. I think the days when everyone thought we were the bridge, we were just scribers, and we were just doing little things that they gave to us are almost behind us now. A lot of business is actually looking for people who bring leadership to anything that they do. The POs are looking for self-starters. They're looking for people who apply that system thinking, integrate, know the organization, lead on work, lead on time, lead on value delivery. I think all of that has actually forced us as the business analyst profession and as practitioners to really step up, because now there's no longer that tutelage and that sense of face-to-face community where you can actually walk around and lead by walking about. Now it's, how do you lead in a virtual world to where there's deliverable deadlines and there's a finite amount actually to do certain things.
Wow, that's really interesting. And if we sort of synthesize those views, we've got as BAs we're expected now to lead or influence and lead from the middle, as people sometimes say, and looking at that holistic type of view that Deborah was sort of referring to, and adopting or adapting in a virtual world, and focusing on outcomes. So quite a lot has changed, and it feels like there's more recognition, or they're starting to get more recognition for those sort of wider roles as well. So with that in mind, why would you say the conference is important right now? And I guess there are two parts to this question. One is, why are events like this so important generally? for us as a community, but also why right now at this point in history is, like the BA Summit so important. So, I mean, Tshepo, what's your view? Why are these events so crucial?
I think one thing that the BA Summit has always tried to do is not just bring practitioners together, but also brought some new thought leadership from across the world. I think it's through the summit that we got to meet people like yourself. We saw leaders emerge like Ryan and Edward. I think it's a space that is as nurturing as it's cutting edge. And I think right now, especially with the challenges that the world is facing, I've seen the program and I think it's spot on. The people who are going to be talking have brought a lot of good and interesting topic. The format is short, and it's very focused. There's a lot of things that I think everyone will probably never want to miss any of the sessions. So, and right now, there's a lot of unlearning that we need to be doing as business analysts, as Inga and everybody else has said. There's a lot of unlearning that we had to do, but also we need to apply a lot of relearning to the skill sets that we've already built over many, many years. So I'm hoping that this summit will address some of those challenges.
Yeah, and I mean that's a really good point about unlearning, isn't it? Because sometimes to really embrace something new, we have to lose something. We have to let something go. So fantastic. So Deborah, for you, why would you say that events like this are so important? I think you may be muted, Deborah.
Oh, sorry. Business Analyst Summit is always, for me, very, very life-changing. And there has never been a year that I return back the same, when I go for those conferences. So for this year, there's been a lot of uncertainties. There's been a lot of, change. I talk about COVID and the possibility, the tendency of COVID introducing the fifth industrial revolution, while we're still talking about the fourth industrial revolution, because there's going to be a shift. Things are going to be happening. People are going to be displaced. Some people are going to be, brought up into limelight. So I think attending this summit is going to equip business analysts with whatever the skills, the knowledge, the capabilities, techniques that you need to float, and to stay abreast in times like this. These are really desperate times, and we just need to garner all the knowledge, like we've been talking about all day. We just need everything to be on par for us to be able to float.
Yeah, definitely. So that ability to absorb and to stay and to stay afloat. And I love that analogy of staying afloat. So Inga, anything you'd add?
I guess for me, it's just all about connection. The last 6 months, I think we've been deprived of that quite a bit. And BA Summit, it's great to come together as a community again, to connect, to learn, to grow. And the portal right now supports all of that. And we get to do it from the comfort of our homes without missing anything. I think that's just the cherry on top with the virtual summit this year.
Yeah. I love what you said there. Connect, grow, learn. That's a really great way of thinking about it. And Ryan, anything you'd add?
Yeah, I mean, in this time where we are seemingly unconnected with the world, you're not going into the office. Well, I certainly am not going to the office at the moment, and you're not meeting people, seeing people. You kind of your circles are restricted to the people you directly work with. So I think this conference offers an opportunity to chat to other people. Some people might work in smaller organizations where they don't interact with people, but even if it was lunches and things like that I used to go to, and chats with people that work in other projects within the organization I'm at, there was those extra conversations, and I found that those have kind of died down a bit now. So yeah, it's great to come into a conference like this and just share your views and talk to other people and interact. And yeah, I think, as Deborah says, I always leave inspired. It's kind of like my pick me up for the year. I don't drink coffee, so this is like my yearly coffee. I leave this being a bit refreshed and energized, and I feel like I always go back to the office after conference with a bit more energy, and I think we all need that energy at the moment.
Yeah, totally. I love that, like the yearly caffeine boost. That's fantastic, Ryan. So, great. Yeah, and I mean the whole social element is really important, and and of course there's the social stuff on the platform, and social media is a great way of staying in touch as well. So very, very briefly, what I'm interested is for each of you, if there's particular topics on your watch list, things that you're thinking, oh yeah, this year I'm really looking for this topic or these topics. So Ryan, what kind of topics are on your watch list?
So oddly enough, I'm quite keen to see a lot of the practical presentations, and specifically I've been quite interested in the visual thinking aspect of things. I mean, I've never been a particularly good visual thinker, and I don't draw well, and I don't, my stuff doesn't look as good as some of the others that are out there. But I feel like at this point, being visual is really important. So sharing concepts, talking virtually, being able to talk through it and show people is so important. I mean, the thing that I've missed the most is grabbing for a pen or a whiteboard marker and drawing out my thoughts, and you can't do it as well remotely. So all these skills around visual thinking, I think, are particularly interesting. So that's why Grant's doing a presentation. I've seen some of your stuff before. Mine will never look like that, but but I think the theory is still there. The ability to visualize what you're thinking.
Yeah, definitely. So visual thinking, a real hot topic. So Inga, anything on your particular watch list?
So being a track chair, I'm probably going to be very biased, but definitely Liesel Conradi on the topic of permanently online, permanently connected. I think it couldn't be discussed at a better time. And then Paula Bell, always a thought-provoking presenter on diversity, inclusion, and transformation. And then lastly, I'm really looking forward to Christina Lovelock's. I mean, with the title like Retrospect Yourself, I mean, you can't miss out, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Fantastic. And Deborah, what particular topics are you looking forward to? I think you're muted, Deborah.
Sorry, I must say that I have a whole lot that I'm like, like when you get into a grocery street store and you're like, what do I take? What am I going for? But I'm particularly really looking forward to Edward's session at 11 o'clock. I'm talking about attaining individual agility. I'm all about being agile, being dynamic, especially in moments like this. I've also had Ryan Folster on my list. He's talking about simplicity, the art of doing less.
Yeah.
That's one. I'm really looking forward to that. And I have someone who said something like the BA is dead. Bryden Neville is talking, the session at 2:40. And I'm like, I'm still alive. Bryden, I want to know who else is alive. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to what do you mean? I'm still here. And how can I live longer,
Yeah.
So a lot of sessions to look forward to.
Fantastic. And Tshepo, any particular topics you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I have actually a lot of favorites and a lot of topics that I've seen that look very interesting. Like I said, I think the program is quite robust this year, and I like the diversity of it as well as of the speakers as well. So talking of that, so Paula's one on DEI, definitely something that really interests me, because I think diversity right now, not just in South Africa, but the whole world. It's not just a side topic anymore, but a main topic. There's also a good friend of mine, Paul Ben, is on tomorrow at 11, so 10 to 11. I'm also looking forward to that. And really, I'm struggling because there's so much to choose from. I want to get to. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I think one of the main things that I asked for Ryan is all these sessions be recorded, because I want to go back.
Yeah, and
be able to review the ones that I didn't get to.
Absolutely, and that's the great thing, is being able to go back. So fantastic. So we are out of time. Just very, very briefly, how is the best way for people to get in touch, to stay in touch with you? Is it LinkedIn? Are you folks all on LinkedIn?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic. I'm seeing
Yeah.
nods. So great. So do look. I'm sure you'll want to stay in touch if you're watching, or even if you're watching the recording. So do stay in touch, connect on LinkedIn. So well, thank you so much for joining us. A really fascinating discussion there. So, and I'm sure I'll see you all throughout the conference. Cheers. Okay, fantastic. So we will move straight on to our next segment. There's so much we want to pack into these sessions, and it actually relates to a topic that Ryan mentioned there about visual thinking, because you might be wondering how you're going to take notes. Now, Ryan mentioned that Grant Wright is going to be giving a presentation a little bit later on in the conference, and that's at 12 o'clock today, called Unleashing the Power of Visual Thinking. But Grant agreed to give us a little bit of a sneak peek into his session. So Grant, over to you.
Hi, my name is Grant Wright of Skylight Solutions, and today I'm going to speak to you about visual thinking. Now, I often find that the easiest way to explain visual thinking is by showing people. So today I'm going to do just that by sketching for you an explanation of what visual thinking is and how it can help you in the pursuit of clarity. In order to explain visual thinking to you, I'm going to make use of a metaphor. That metaphor is one of a treasure map and a pirate ship. We have our pencil that represents visual thinking, which I've converted into a pirate ship that's going to take us on our journey. In the early part of our journey, we're going to explore how visualization can help us in the sense-making space. As we move through our journey, we will also talk about how, once knowledge has been acquired, visualization can be used to help apply that knowledge to help with learning and communication. Now, irrespective of which aspect of visual thinking that we're talking about, we have a common destination. And in keeping with my pirate ship metaphor, I've represented this as our treasure at the end of our journey. And that treasure is clarity, whether that's clarity of understanding or communication. All visual thinking is trying to provide clarity in some form or another. The first aspect of visual thinking that I want to talk about is the ability for visual thinking to help us understand. By using visuals, we can take things that are complex and make them simpler. By externalizing our private mental models and making them public, we can make what was once hidden visible, what was once tacit explicit, and what was once intangible now tangible. And in doing so, in externalizing our thoughts in this way, we create a systems model that reflects our understanding. And then from that, we can see clearly what we do and don't know. And we can also then go on to share that with others. Which brings me on to my second topic. The second aspect of visual thinking is that of exploring ideas and sparking creativity. By externalizing our thoughts, as we've just said, it helps us to think things through. But in a group context, it allows us to share that understanding with others. Other people can look and see the gaps in our understanding or contribute alternative views or thoughts. This is great in that it brings diversity of understanding and opinion to the table. And you're no longer left in a situation where the person with the loudest voice or the most senior person in the room is driving all of the ideation and solutions. You're empowering people to contribute and be creative. Furthermore, by externalizing the information in the way I'm showing here, other people can contribute to the discussion and bring their ideas to the table as well. Now, once we move out of the sense-making space and we've got some level of understanding, we're moving into the ability to take knowledge and apply it. The next aspect of visual thinking is that use of things like sketchnoting and graphic recording, where using visuals can help us to actually learn and retain information and recall it. I've personally sketchnoted for a number of years now, and I found that it really helps me to process my thoughts, to take in what's being said by actively listening and representing what I've heard and connections between pieces of information. And whether I'm listening to a podcast, a webinar, going to a conference, I find it a great way of encapsulating what I've learned. And it also has the added benefit that once I've gone through this process, I've taken the time to use simple images and words and connections between them to organise my thoughts, that it helps me then remember and recall information much more clearly than I would ordinarily be able to do if I were using traditional notes. The final aspect I want to talk about is communication. In this example, I'm illustrating myself talking about visual thinking and using the pirate metaphor towards clarity. I find that using visuals in our presentations can help us play back that understanding that we've acquired to others in a way that is more accessible, is more engaging, more interesting than listening to a presentation where you're looking at a sea of bullet points. I think that if we use visuals in the right way, it can really amplify that storytelling aspect and bring a human connection to the work we do. So that's our journey towards visual thinking and how it helps us to understand complexity, explore ideas and be more creative, learn new things and recall information more clearly, and communicate more effectively with others, all of which brings us to our goal of clarity. So hopefully you enjoyed our voyage of discovery into the world of visual thinking. Perhaps in the future you could apply visualization to help amplify your business analysis practice. If you'd like to find out more about visualization and visual thinking, then why not join me for my talk, Unleashing the Power of Visual Thinking, and I'm also hosting a panel discussion where we will discuss the application of visual thinking to business analysis. I hope to see you there.
Fantastic. Well, some excellent advice from Grant there. I'm sure you'll agree. So just before we close, one thing I wanted to let you know is you can, because we're live, you can interact with BA Fringe. I see many of you posting comments, live comments on YouTube, but maybe you want a shout out, you want to share a learning, you want to celebrate something. You can actually submit a shout out. You just need to go to bafringe.live. That's bafringe.live, and we'll cover as many shout-outs as we can in future episodes. Our next episode is at 12:40. Please do join us for that. We'll be announcing a competition in that one as well, so stay tuned for that. But now, really important, you need to close the YouTube window because the keynote is about to start. So don't even wait for the credits. Why are you still listening? Close YouTube, go over to the keynote. It's going to be amazing. We have, with great uncertainty comes great opportunity. Lego Tar Bar. So look forward to seeing you in a future episode, and look forward to chatting with you throughout the conference.